hello, hello. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. Well, my name is Mariana Pacheco. I'm the ambassador of Colombia to India and 6 more countries around India. So I'm going to be speaking, please, the next slide. I'm going to be speaking about where and what is Colombia, mining and energy sector as a major contributor of Colombia's economic growth of social development, about oil and gas, mining sector, the new energy matrix in Colombia, and Colombia and India energy relation. Next, please. Let me first talk about Colombia. Some of you has asked me even where is Colombia? Colombia is in the heart of the Americas, neighboring to the north with the Caribbean and Panama, east with Venezuela, south with Brazil, Peru, and Ecuador, and in the west with the Pacific. We are an Indo-Pacific country. We have trade agreements with 17, we have FTA with 17 countries, including US and Canada, Singapore, EU. I mean, we're open to the world. Next, please. We're a multicultural country with 50 million people, and we have received 2 million Venezuelans, and we have formalized 1.8 million of this, more than 2 million Venezuelans that have come into the country. We are the 4th largest economy in Latin America, and one that is growing the most. After growing 10.7% last year, growth unfortunately will slow down this year, as we all know, because of the war in Ukraine, and due to rising inflation and higher interest rates. This said, we will, accordingly to IMF and OECD, will grow comfortably around 6.8% in 2022. Next. We're a country very much open to foreign investors. We received as of March of 2022, this year, more than $5.2 billion. That's in compared to last year that we only received $2.2 billion. We've seen this growth incredible because, one, we're very much open to business, and especially in the hydrocarbon sector in Colombia. If you can see by the OECD restrictiveness for foreign direct investment, our rate is very, very low. We're a very open country for foreign direct investment. Next. The mining and energy sector in Colombia does play a main role in the economic recovery and growth in Colombia, not only in terms of foreign direct investment, but also domestic investment in not only oil, as I said, but also mining and renewable energies. Investment into the oil sector accounted more than 45%, and into the mining sector 13%. And this is thanks to a strategy, and that strategy has taken us into a higher step, a modern and attractive regulatory framework, positioning Colombia as a very attractive country for investors. That means getting to know, like I'm doing today, all of you, where is Colombia and what is expected from Colombia, and opening frameworks, or what we call rounds, business rounds for investors. We have continuously open bidding processes in all sectors: oil, mining, I just spoke with someone from the copper sector, so we're continually opening these rounds, which are overseen by the World Bank, which are overseen by the Inter-American Development Bank. And we are also receiving a lot of cooperation from foreign banks to open our economy. Please, next. The mining sector is essential not only for the country's sustainability, but also for the development of the regions of Colombia. What I have understood from the previous presentations, the mining and oil sector has contributed to Colombia's regions, what we call municipalities, more than 13.7 billion in royalties, which means this is an advance in 89% in the collection goal that it has been of 15.4 billions. What this means for this region is that there is more infrastructure, more education, more schools, more hospitals, better health, better access, and a better future for Colombians underprivileged. The oil and gas sector has contributed 74% of the proceeds, while the contributions of the mining sector, each 26%, has also contributed to Colombia's growth. Next. The mining and energy sector, well, as I just said, is one of the main contributors to the national economy. We all know, and I've seen outside by the stalls that you have there in construction, in the cement, in the transportation, in the manufacturing, in the industrial, and mainly in the development of the country itself. Oil and mining combined provide more than 50% of Colombia's monthly exports and up to 8% of the gross domestic product. The sector employs more than 350 people in all, and we have recovered only in the course of this year 54,000 employments out of this sector. The oil and mining sector is 12% of the GDP, 7% of that GDP is mining and oil and energy, and 5.7% is public services, including energy, gas distribution, electricity, and water. It accounts for 34% of foreign direct investment and 56% of the total exports of Colombia. Next. The sector of mining, oil, gas, and electricity are centered in main strategies, four main strategies. One is the renewable energies and new energy generators. Two, the security in terms of energy supply. We all know that in order for a country to grow, it needs to have a secured energy. Three, the diversification of mining, legalizing or formalizing and creating new jobs. In Colombia, as in many countries of the world, most of our mining, unfortunately, had been illegal. So we have been formalizing and bringing these small and medium companies into legal mining. And the fourth is sustainable mobility. Even though transportation does not support or provides many of the emissions, sustainable mobility is the future in transportation. In this, Colombia has made a very ambitious commitment to declare 30% of its territory a protected area by 2022, 8 years early than originally planned. We have also committed to cut 51% down emissions by 2030 and reach carbon neutrality by 2050. These goals are agreed by our mining, oil, energy, and sector in Colombia. Next, please. So let me talk about the oil and gas sector. Colombia's gas production in 2021 was the highest in the last 5 years. The gas production marketed in Colombia in December 2021 represented an increase of 2.4% compared by last year's, which in last year's, as you know, were very much affected by COVID. Oil production accounted for 745,000 average barrels per day in December of 2021, which was a slight decrease from 2020. This mainly because of climate, because we had some demonstrations very close to the oil companies, as many employees, many employment was lost in these areas. We have 460 wells were drilled in 2021, 53% more than in 2020, with only 299 wells drilled down. Next, please. Oil exports from Colombia have increased to 45% only in the first quarter of 2022. Production in February of 2022 was 734,502 barrels per day. We hope to bring it up again. And as I said, investment, both domestic and foreign, in oil and gas for 2022 has been a major driver of this industry. We have received 4.4 billion, which in turn will continue helping in the economic and social recovery and dynamism of our economy, both local, regional, and national. Further, will support in energy, self-sufficient, and fresh income in dollars. Next, please. We have some of the major companies, oil companies in the world in Colombia. Here you have Mansorábar, which is a joint venture between ONGC Videsh and Chinese oil company. Now this should be replaced by just ONGC, which just recently found a very nice oil in Colombia, and hopefully it will be producing more than 40,000 barrels per day by the end of the year or beginning of next year. And Ecopetrol, our national company, will be purchasing most of that oil. Next. So let me talk a little bit about Ecopetrol. Ecopetrol is our largest and primary petroleum company in Colombia. Is a public company in the U.S. It's a good investment in the New York Stock Exchange. Is publicly traded, operates not only in Colombia, but also in Peru, Brazil, and the U.S. Gulf Coast. Ecopetrol include exploration, production, transportation, logistics, refining, petrochemicals, biofuels, and alternative energies. That includes solar and wind. As we see, Ecopetrol strategies is centered around 4 pillars, which are very much aligned with the government pillars: competitive returns, grow within energy transition, cutting-edge knowledge and cutting-edge technology, and generate value through TESG, technology, environment, social, and governance. The 2022-2024 business plan has focused on profitable growth, which is the core of the business, and on the diversification of the Ecopetrol group. Ecopetrol 2021 financial results presented an outstanding annual consolidated revenue of 24.4 billion. I just have to say that Ecopetrol is one of the 500 Forbes companies. 83% increase compared from 2020. It has a net income of 4.4 billion and an EBITDA of 11.2 billion. with a margin, a very good margin of 46%. These figures are all-time record financial results, allowing the group of Ecopetrol to return an average return on capital employed of 13.6%. As part of the group's decarbonization strategy and in line with our net zero carbon emissions goal, by 2050, Ecopetrol were the first company in Latin America to sell a carbon-compensated crude oil cargo of Castilla Blend, which is a registered brand, and will continue selling carbon-compensated crude oil cargo into 2022 and beyond. Ecopetrol crude strategy is driven by three main objectives: diversification of export destinations and strengthening clients' relationships, development of third-party trading positions, and decarbonization of our commercial operations. We have opened a new office in Singapore, Ecopetrol Trading Asia, which aims to reinforce our diversification strategy and increase market share in Asia, which will increase the competitiveness of our products in this region. Ecopetrol just came to India last month. Please, next. You can see the figures here. You can see where Ecopetrol is at, the revenue, the EBITDA, and the investment plan for 2022. So with this, please, next. So with this, just let me say that the monthly production of commercialized gas in Colombia has increased gradually about 5.4% compared to the previous period. The increase was mainly due to the startup of new wells and fields, plus the reestablishment of production in other strategic fields. And a good news just from last week, we just discovered a new gas production, Uchuva 1, which is an exploratory well offshore in the Caribbean Sea near the city of Santa Marta. And that will increase from 8 years, our gas reserve, to hopefully 30 years. So we are investing in exploration, in exploitation of our reserves, and especially in securing our mining oil reserves for the future. Yes, please, next. Let me talk about the mining sector in Colombia. Colombia is well endowed with minerals and energy resources. It has the largest gold reserves in Latin America, and is second to Brazil in hydroelectric potential. Colombia also possesses significant amounts of nickel and gold, and other important metals includes platinum and silver, which were extracted in much smaller quantities. Colombia also produces copper. Colombia is the world's leading source of emeralds. Colombia is the leading exporter of coal and emeralds in Latin America, the fourth exporter of nickel, the seventh exporter of copper and gold, and mining is 1.3% of GDP and 25% of our total exports. It employs more than 167 direct employments that multiplies by 4, gives us a big amount, almost 500,000 people employed by the mining sector. As said before, we are implementing a strategy of legalizing the sector, especially those small miners. And just this year, we have legalized more than 27,000 people in Colombia. As of royalties from mining, it keeps on increasing. Just in what is in 2022, we have received more than $400 million in the course of this year, and mainly those comes from coal, 37% from gold, 6% from nickel, 2% from other minerals, and 1% from emeralds. Next, please. Colombia is a country to be explored in terms of mining. Only 2.9% of our territory has been explored. That's why we put in place these rondas, what we call rounds or bidding processes, which are very much open to everyone. We've had very good audience in these business rounds from Indian companies in Colombia that have bid for this, not only in copper, in phosphates, in gold, and of course in emeralds as well. Next, please. It's no secret that every country needs the income from mining oil and energy to close the gaps, the social gaps, to lift people out of poverty. That's why our strategy is aimed towards the recovery of the people and the recovery of the country. Energy has blessed us with that income to do so. It has helped us to recover to the levels before the pandemic and will continue to further our growth. In accordance to the energy matrix of Colombia, next. In the last 4 years, President Duque has made enormous efforts in changing this matrix, including new alternative clean sources of energy, those that are wind, solar, as well as others, including green hydrogen and biomass. The objective is to have energy sources secured for now and future generations and assure the continuation of growth of my country. The program of rounds or biddings under a strategy have worked in addition to make it attractive to both domestic and foreign investors. Let me just say that in 2018, there was only 2 projects of new alternative energy in Colombia, and it was only 0.2% of our total matrix. Today, alternative energy accounts for 12% of total energy matrix, which have been thanks to 3 bidding processes, multiplying by 100 times the generation of energy to 2,800 kilowatts. New technologies promoted under newest strategies include hydrogen projects with 2 pilot projects, offshore wind projects in the Caribbean, geotherm, 100 megawatts. Currently, we produce 100 megawatts with geotherm and biomass. We have 2 projects with coffee waste, with sugar waste, palm oil waste, among others. In these 4 years, we started only with 28 megawatts in solar and wind. And as I said, we have 2,800 megawatts by now, and by the end of the year, we hope to have 4,000 megawatts or so. Next, please. So the future is in energy transition. Next, please. Now, let me just briefly talk about Colombia and Indian oil and coal trade relation. India represents 18% of Colombia's crude oil exports. The main investor partner is ONGC Videsh. The company has a presence in 6 exploration and production fields in Colombia, and as I said, they just found a very good oil, which is light oil that will bring, hopefully, production of ONGC to 40,000 barrels per day by the end of the year. Our main partners in terms of the main partners in terms of exports are Reliance, Nayara, an Indian oil company. I think all 3 of them are here present today. And we hope to see more of you coming to Colombia. Colombia's exports of coal to India are also increasing. Tata Power has been our main partner. Can we see the next slide, which is the last slide? just wanted to take a look at this and the potential of trade in the mining and oil industry. Just in the last year, if we compare January to May, our growth has been of 133% in terms of exports from Colombia to India. So there is a long ways to go. So let me invite you to invest in Colombia, to continue doing business in Colombia, and to learn more about Colombia. Thank you. Thank you very much for this invitation.